Hey guys, it is me, Kisame Unlimited, and today I'm here to tackle a top 10 for you guys. The top 10 that I'm going to be tackling for this week is the top 10 decks that I would like to see get support in the new Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains series. So if you guys would like to see another top 10 in the next following week, 500 likes would be the goal. If you like the video, it's greatly appreciated. I'm very grateful to anyone that goes out of their way to do so. So the point of this video is, since Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains has been introduced and we got the introduction to Link monsters, there are a lot of archetypes that are dead that could be spiced up a bit with a new mechanic. So I said, you know what, I wanted to look over every archetype, and I said I wanted to pick 10 decks that I thought really deserved it the most. And personally, there's only one high tier deck on this list, but I have my reasons. But out of these 10 results, I had, I think I want to say 17. I had to narrow it down to 10. So these are the top 10 decks that I think really should get this mechanic. So right now I'm going to turn to the side and we're going to be tackling the top 10 decks that desperately need Link monsters. Ojamas already have the fusion mechanic being able to use Knight and King, however, not many people go down that route. But if they had Link monsters and Link markers, they could literally just maybe take one monster, go from one to another, and in GX they had a lot of support that never came out. So I feel like it's a good excuse to breathe some life into Ojamas. I do think Ojamas is like a cute, fun-based deck, and it's like a little bit of a fun trolley deck, and it would be a deck that I think that if got support, nobody would complain about it. Everyone would be very supportive and, say, oh, I'm here for this. I think this is really cool. And I feel like the whole, OTK potential that they have, I feel like, even if it got a revamp, I feel like it would be fun. I feel like they could really take it somewhere and actually be really creative with it. So I really give it to Ojamas for getting the Link monsters, because I think that they would bring it over very well. Battery men are basically low rent version of despots. However, despots have the pendulum mechanic. Battery men have nothing. And I kind of feel like if battery men got anything, I think having them have link monsters would be really good for them. I feel like if they were just counted as link monsters, that would take them very far, and I think that they would be able to rival despots again, and I think that they would be really good. Even though that battery men have never been on par with them, I think that it would be a good kick in their ass and push them in the right direction. Number 8, I'm going to give to Six Samurais. I dislike Six Samurais very much because I don't like them, but I do see them as a perfect, here you go to Link monsters, because my logic is they play XYZs, they play Synchros, they summon a gajillion cards very easily. Very easily can they actually summon Link monsters. And then I think on top of that, if they have more Six Samurai cards that would be Link monsters, it would really push them more back into the metagame. I think that they're one of the more better archetypes that Konami has given to us, and I feel like it would be wasteful not to give them Link monsters. Now, as much as I say that, and if Konami did so, good for them. I wouldn't mind seeing them a little bit more often, even though I do not like them. I do see them, and I say I'm not going to try to let my biased opinion and my negative opinion of them actually sway from the deck actually getting really good support, because if the deck gets really good support, good for it. I'm happy for you. I just don't want you to be too powerful. That's all I ask. Number 7, I'm going to give that to Windups. I think Windups is one of the decks that it only had a loop, and the loop was the only thing that took it far, basically with Hunter and Zenmighty. However, we don't have Zenmighty anymore, and they have the ability to summon multiple monsters. They're an XYZ based deck that I could see having Link monsters and seeing them take it further. I think it would be very interesting to see where Windups could actually take Link monsters, and I feel like they would be a very good mixture of XYZ and Link monsters. Like, if you look at Spellbooks, Fire Fist, Mermals, they're all still pretty good and decent today. However, if you look at Windups, they really don't compare anymore. They're like missing a leg and they can't keep up anymore. But I think if they were given Link monsters, I feel like that'd be a fun little spice to an old archetype. I think that that'd be really nice, and I'd be very happy to see them grace, the game again and actually be good, because they have great art. They look so cute. They're so interesting, and I feel like it'd be a shame just to let them die. So I think that'd be nice to see them get Link monsters. Kakaris is one of those archetypes that actually can't survive on their own. There were never a deck that actually was able to be like, I'm a solid build and I'm going towards the world. They've never been like that. And actually, since, they are a synchro-based deck, they could actually take advantage a lot of having link monsters going into their synchro monsters. And in my opinion, that deck just needed some extra spice to it. Because at most, they were just like a 3, 4, 5 card tech into decks, which, people are like, well, I'm just going to play the synchro monsters and go from there and gain momentum and draw cards. However, if the Kokiri archetype actually got a revamp and actually got link monsters, it would be able to push them into a more solid build. And I think that that is what I would love to see Kokiris do, because Kokiris have a very interesting mechanic, being able to switch from attack mode to defense mode. However, the link monsters wouldn't be able to do that, but I would like to see how they could spice that up and say, oh, even though we can't go into defense mode, maybe we could do something defense mode like for the Kokiris, and I think that that would be very interesting to see, because it's an archetype that can't survive by itself, and I look at it as a wounded bird, and I say, I would like to see you picked up, dust yourself off. You have a very interesting concept. Now let's see what you can do in this new mechanic world. Fabled is an archetype that's synchro related that you dump your entire hand and waste all your resources. That's it. At most, you summon Quasar and hope that you don't get Kaiju. That's it. Now, when it comes to Fables, I do look at them and I say, if they had link monsters where you could actually dump all these cards on the field and establish good links, and the links would actually offer you something beneficial for Fables, like recyclability, or being able to summon a synchro based from your extra deck like right away, something like that I think would really push Fables into a much more, I don't want to say competitive, but a better standing to what they are now, because they have never seen play ever. They have never been a good archetype, and I always really had a soft spot in my heart for Fables. That's the only archetype that I think has been influenced by myself that I would like to see them get support, because out of all the archetypes from the Hidden Arsenal series, they actually were like one of my favorites. You see, when I first saw the new Ancient Gear support, I was like, okay, that's cool. When I saw the Gadget support, I was like, that's pretty cool. And then I saw the ABCs, and then it said, I would really like to see a revamp to Gears. However, now with the Link monsters coming out, I feel like they would be a good candidate for it, and I feel like, hey, we could summon a lot of XYZs, and we could summon multiple monsters on the field. Dumping them into the grave wouldn't be the worst thing ever, so summoning Link monsters out of them wouldn't be bad either. So I kind of say, if they have Link monsters, and they have good markers, and they could actually take it further, I would love to see where it would go. I do feel like Gears had Spotlight at one point in time, and I would like to see them get that Spotlight again, because I thought that they were so fun and interesting. And I feel like it's such a shame to see a deck that had such an interesting concept and such an interesting look based off Gears, because I thought their take on Gears were so much better than the Ancient Gears personally. And even though I love Ancient Gear Golem, I thought Gears did it better and had a better route to go. So I kind of feel like I would like to see such a good concept go further. So I would like to see where Gears would go in the future with Link monsters. Cosmos is one of those archetypes that actually don't need it in the slightest. Cosmos is the highest tier deck on this list. When I look at Cosmos, I kind of wish that they had like a little bit more pizzazz to them, because they don't have rituals, they don't have fusions, they don't have synchros, they don't have XYZs or pendulums. They are just based off themselves, and they basically say, hey, you get rid of the little monsters to summon the big spaceships, and then you go from there. And if the spaceships die, you bring out lower levels. And I feel like they have a good engine, good concept, and they're overall fun, and I even played them at one point in time. But I do believe if they had Link monsters, I feel like it would be very interesting, because I would finally say, finally, that's what they're meant to do. I look at Cosmos and say, hey, Vrains is right around the corner. They don't have a summoning mechanic. Why not give it to them? I wouldn't mind seeing Cosmos good again. They're one of the very few meta decks that came out that I actually was, giving my thumbs up to and say, I like you guys. I think you guys are cool. I don't have any issues. The Thunder family is a lot like Cosmos. However, the Thunder family is much, much, much weaker than the Cosmos, so I think that the Thunder family deserves it way more. However, when I look at the Thunder family, they are basically a rank 4 toolbox-based deck. However, they have nothing of uniqueness to them as a whole. They have no interesting ranks to go into for themselves, and I kind of say, hey, for an archetype that summons multiple monsters, give them Link monsters. And I really hope out of all these archetypes that I named that the Thunder family is one of the decks that get it the most. I really wish the Thunder family would get support and get Link monsters from Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains, because they really, really need it. Ignites is the only Pendulum-based deck on this list, and it's on here for a reason. It's the only archetype that's Pendulum-related that I think that won't be able to survive in the slightest. Now, for the people that know this already, Link monsters have established that you can't summon any monsters from your extra deck without establishing links. So, if you have the Ignites popping themselves a gajillion times, and then decide to say, hey, I want to Pendulum summon everything from my extra deck, at most, you can only summon one monster. So that deck is completely destroyed and fucked without the existence of Link monsters. So that's one of those decks that cannot survive without Link monsters. So it's one of those decks that I would love to see get support, because it's one of those decks where it's like, it's very interesting, and it wasn't a very high tier Pendulum based deck in the slightest. So I think that it's one of those decks that I think are really, really well deserving, and if they do not get Link monsters, that deck will never survive. And I would love to see that deck actually exist in the game still. I wouldn't want to see it brushed under the rug and nobody ever talks about it, because if they just give them a little bit of spice with, hey, here's a Link monster, they would have direction to go with. So I hope you guys all enjoyed this video of seeing 10 decks that I would love to see get the Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains treatment and get Link monsters and markers. So if you guys have any decks that you would have loved to see get Link monsters, leave it in the comment section below. I would love to see your guys' opinions on this. Also, I upload every Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. My Tuesdays are my weekly topics, where I have good overall topics about Yu-Gi-Oh! Subjects. My Thursdays are my Ranty Thursdays, where I either do beatdowns on the ban list or rant-ons. My Saturdays are top 10s like today. And my Sundays are my 6-Fifth Pain Challenge, where I duel my subscribers. So if you're new, subscribe. It's greatly appreciated. And other than that, I hope you guys all have a great day, better tomorrow, and I will see you guys later in a future video.